Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about health issues that we need to think about daily as we get older so that we can stay functional well into our 80s and 90s. Today, I want to talk about the top overall health concerns that we need to consider during the holidays. And the major one is cardiovascular strain. So please think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here each week where we can share and motivate each other to do our actions daily that will invest in our healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally as we get older so that we can be functional well into our 80s and 90s. That's my goal, and I hope it's yours too. So, why do we have to think about increased cardiac stress during the holidays? Believe it or not, heart attacks and cardiovascular events happen a little more frequently sometimes during the holiday period. I know that some of my family had some cardiac events during the holidays, and mainly because they were at risk of cardiac issues. We have heart disease in my family, and so there was a greater sense of risk. And sometimes, like we all know, I hope you know, our cardiac risks are the silent killer. That's really the key. And unless we wake up to what those risks are and what our individual risks can be, we really aren't going to be aware of what our deeper risks are with having a cardio event. That is a heart attack, a stroke. There's all kinds of things that can occur that we just want to avoid at all costs. Because let's face it, it's the number one killer of men. And so, why is this the biggest risk? During the holidays, we're eating a lot more salty, sugary, high fat foods. And those, guess what, increase our blood pressure. And that strains the heart. I know that we all are tempted, believe me, when that big meal or those big party or those fatty hors d'oeuvres come out. I do want to just dive in and enjoy. But I also have to recognize I'm not as young as I used to be. And I need to be restrained in some ways because let's face it, I know in my family we have a risk for cardiology problems. So, I'm not willing to have a stroke. I'm not willing to have a heart attack. So I might try one or two things. How about you? How are you going to manage things where you're introduced with salty, sugary, fatty foods, and they're really something that it's hard to resist? What's your reason? What's your why? I know for me, I work in the neurology department. And so I see what stroke does to people. It's quite challenging. And believe me, I do not want to suffer a stroke. So if you've seen the results of stroke, the hardships that follow, remind yourself before going to a party that you're going to be reasonable, moderate, only sample one or two things that you just can't resist and call it a day. And maybe in those types of situations, if you indulge in the food, stay away from the alcohol. Do something that helps you. Really stay away from those rich foods because they're just not promoting our good health that we want into our older years. The other issue is that the weather's colder. And when the weather's colder, our blood vessels constrict. They're not plump and really flowing with blood. So it makes our heart work harder. Plus, if you are at those parties and you're eating the salty, sugary, fatty food, and then you couple it with alcohol, boom, you've got a huge problem. So be mindful when you're out and about enjoying yourself that you really are there for the social engagement more than the eating and drinking engagement. And bundle up. Don't let yourself get too cold because that doesn't help our heart either. The other issue is our disrupted routines. Typically, we're traveling more. We're going to visit family and friends. We're on the road. We don't have control over our schedule sometimes. So it may be difficult to take the medications that we need to. It's inconsistent. We've got busy schedules. We forget or we're traveling. Sometimes we didn't go to sleep until 1 or 2 in the morning because we were up playing poker or we're up partying. I know this happens in my family. And so that sometimes when you have poor sleep, that increases your blood pressure, increases inflammation and your blood sugar control. Believe me, anything that we can do, like I had spoken about earlier, about maintaining routine, give yourself an anchor of some type of routine that helps you reflect on what are your important daily actions that you do to support yourself and care for yourself. The other issue is emotional stress. Our holiday season is so emotionally complex. Believe me, I'm a person who is struggling because this is the 10th anniversary of my husband's passing. And I feel a sense of grief. And I also feel a sense of social kind of isolation. Many of my friends have moved away. And I'm having to be more intentional about going out and gathering with friends that are here and asking for a brunch date, an evening date, and just making sure that I'm planning things so that I don't suddenly find myself all alone and I go down that pity party of loneliness. So, if you are someone who too also has some social isolation, you're a caregiver, you're grieving over a lost one, do what you can to help yourself emotionally. Journal, give yourself meditation, take walks, take mini breaks. Do whatever it is to help yourself because if you have emotional stress, this just increases our cortisol, it increases our heart rate. It just makes it challenging for our health to be maintained in a good kind of normalized way when we have emotional stress. The other issue is that sometimes we've put off the medical care that we needed to do by the end of the year. We've ignored some of those signals. Maybe we've had some sudden rushing of pulsing in our ears, or we suddenly aren't seeing as clearly as we used to, or maybe we feel some kind of a lump somewhere in our under our arm or something, and we just put it off and say, I'll get that scheduled into the new year. My friends, take action now. Schedule that appointment. Pull out the phone and call that primary care doctor. Call that eye doctor. Call that hearing doctor. Do whatever it is to take care of your health yearly so that you can stay on top of whatever is going on in our bodies. It's the key because the earlier we can figure out what's going on in our bodies, the more we can take daily actions to do preventative illness prevention. We can focus on wellness. We can focus on things that are hereditary that we want to prevent. We can focus on reducing the stress in our life and do whatever it is because ultimately getting ahead of any physical problem is the key. And if we can get ahead of it and we can catch things while they're early, we have a much better time of defeating it versus capitulating. Believe me, I know this really well. So be well, my friends. Now is the time to truly take stock of who and what we are doing in our lives. How are we making ourselves a primary focus for keeping ourselves healthy, both mentally, physically, and spiritually? Are you giving yourself some time? Are you doing things that are keeping it simple? Can you take time to breathe a few times every day? Can you focus before you go to parties on how you're going to maybe only drink one drink? Or if you decide to do drinks, maybe you don't do the hors d'oeuvres and you just have a nice meal and a bite of someone's dessert. Focus on what is important, and that's connecting with family and friends, being present in their energy and feeling the love and the kindness and the generosity of being together. That's really what the focus is versus the focus of being there for food and drink. And that's never what. Sometimes I get caught in that. I'm guilty. I do. I swear to God, a good piece of food, I'm captivated. I'm a foodie. It's hard for me, but I know when to draw the line, and I'm hanging in there. I'm doing pretty good this year so far. I went to a party last night and I was able to be very moderate. I had a bite of the cheesecake, a bite of the olive cake. I indulged in a pasta dish that I hardly ever eat, and that was it. It was really simple. And I had a small portion, which was wonderful. So I didn't feel like I'd overindulged, and that was the key. I have to tell you, it's being intentional before you go to these parties. It's making up your mind that you're not going to drink, but you might have a little bit of the foods that you enjoy and call it a day. And then make sure that you're not out in the cold too much. And that's what it was, freezing cold. And so I took a cab home. It is so cold here in New York. Oh my God. So, as a reminder, be intentional. Think of the things that you are holding on to for your why, your purpose of wanting to be functional well into your 80s and 90s. What is your goal? Is it because you want to be there for your grandchildren? Did you have children later in life, and so your sons and daughters are going to be getting married when you're in your 70s and 80s? Or you just want to keep doing the things you love to do for as long as you can until you leave this world. I know that's me. I want to do that. I want to be doing the things that I enjoy and love to do as long as I possibly can on this earth. So be well, my friends. Please think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here each week. Push that like button, share this episode, and come back again, and we can continue to support one another to stay as healthy as we possibly can well into our 80s and 90s. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.